Hello, and welcome to Why São Paulo, exploring Brazil's magic through its people and places. I'm your host, Emily Witt, and today we're exploring a deeply personal and inspiring topic, finding your place in a city as vast and vibrant as São Paulo. Making friends in a new city is never easy, but I was fortunate to discover a wonderful community called Talk Speaking Club. Joining me today is Eiki Sasaki, a lifelong Paulista with a unique perspective on building connections and exploring opportunities in one of the world's most dynamic cities. Eiki, one of the group's organizers, warmly introduced himself during a meetup I attended last March, leaving a lasting impression with his passion for creating meaningful interactions. In this episode, we'll discuss Eiki's favorite hidden gem, Parque da Aclimação, and how he found a sense of community through running groups, meetups, and the Talk Speaking Club, a fantastic place for meeting new people and practicing languages. Whether you're looking to learn something new, expand your social circle, or simply feel more at home in São Paulo, this conversation is full of practical insights and heartfelt stories that show how connection can transform city living. Let's start with the question that I'm going to ask all of the guests. And do you have any lesser known or special spots in Sao Paulo that holds significant meaning for you, that resonate deeply with you?
It is hard to find a place that is a hidden place and lesser known. A city that everybody's digging up and searching for new option on entertainment, and that we live in a time of digital influencer digging up new tips and new areas, gems in the cities. I have a really deep connection with another park that is not Ibirapuera. Ibirapuera is the main park that first comes to the mind of people when they visit to the country because of the architecture and the infrastructure there. But I have a deep connection with Parque da Aclimação, which it is very close to my neighborhood and where I grew up. When you see it from high above, you see that it's only dense vegetation. You barely see the structure of the park. But when you get in there, you see a beautiful lake inside with ducks, fish, and sometimes if you are lucky, you can see even woodpecker. There is also a guy that is also Japanese Brazilian that he voluntarily to build a artificial perch for birds to feed birds, and he brings by himself a slice of fruit to feed the birds and attract the animals there. And it's so cool because you feel in the heart of São Paulo that vibe of countryside. Besides the fact that my mom used to bring us when we were kids to play in the playground and also feed the fish and ducks with crumbs of bread, it was also the first place that when I was a kid and I wasn't under the supervision of my parents, me and my brother went to the park to venture out by ourselves, and it was one of the first steps that we took to explore the cities, and also brought a lot of friends, special people to wander there, visit that park. And one of my last experience that going to stick to my memory forever is that it's also the place that I trained for my marathon, that it was one of my great accomplishments for my life. The park is so small, so I needed to take 30 laps, literally 30 laps around the lake to train for marathon. But it's cool to see people, watch people, and see people from all walks of life. And some people live there in the neighborhood and know each other. You barely see it outside of that park or even outside of that neighborhood. That sensation of countryside.
I love this. And what neighborhood is it in?
Aclimação. Aclimação.
I'll have to, on my next visit, I'm going to write this down, and it sounds like a lovely a lovely place because similar to New York, you need a space to just take a step back
Yeah,
and look at some greenery. And so I'm
decompress a
glad
little.
I'm glad you found. Curious, which marathon did you run?
And two in Rio and two in São Paulo, all in Brazil.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm a runner myself, so and I did New
Cool.
York. So yeah, so running around the cities we love and the parks. In fact, I trained in the park that I used to go to as a child too. So that's a really really cool connection. I have another question for you that's funny, probably going to be funny to the audience who are familiar with the city and the state of Sao Paulo, and wanted to ask you your opinion, like, especially as someone who runs groups for people who are out of town or who are new to the city. How long does it take to officially become a Paulista or a Paulistano? Like, is
How long
there,
does it
you know,
take? At the same time that it would take forever for you to become Paulista, because even I, that I was born and raised here, people treat me like a foreigner just because I'm a minority. At the same time,
Mhm.
everyone could be a Paulista because it's a city full of migrants that people tolerate that you barely can notice that you are local or foreigner, because everybody could be a Brazilian and specifically a Paulista, because that is the beauty of the city. That diversity of ethnicity,
Yeah,
that migrants that live together, it is what make the city special. So it could take months or years or lifetime. You belong at the
yeah,
same
no,
time, at the same time you don't belong. You always need to
yeah,
explore, try to fit in.
that's so true. And something that I feel, I think we had touched on this before we started the recording. I grew up in the New York area, and I grew up in an environment that is very similar to the city of Sao Paulo. And it's this concept of a lot of people from all over.
Mm-hmm.
And was very special for me when I first came to the city and then discovered the city, was that similarity in that feeling
Mm-hmm.
that there are different people from all walks of life somehow making this all come together in beautiful ways, and also, ways that always, like, just in terms of, like, putting so many people in one place, there's a lot of things that come along with that. But it's this adaptability of living side by side with different people of different backgrounds, and something that's quite beautiful to me
Yeah.
about being there as well. Still touching on this topic that I assume is something that you really appreciate and love about the city. Like, what else to you, as someone who's grown up in the area, what do you think makes it such a special city, in addition to what we just touched upon?
We are 20 million of people. At the same time, you might feel lonely, but you feel push yourself out there. You can find people that match you, that have common interests. I'm a shy guy, introverted guy, and I used to be only around people that were from my inner circle, that were have kind of similar background, and especially during after pandemic, I drifted apart from some friends of mine, and then getting to know people because of those social interactions during meetups, allowing yourself to be in contact with people that have different background of you, that have people from all walks of life. You realize that you don't need to be so social anxious or live only within your community. You can cross border and realize that people are nice, overall are nice, are friendly, willing to get to know you. They have different stories, they have different and interesting stories. And yeah, I feel that I have more optimistic perception, uh, about sharing and trying to build community, because I used to hold on that stereotype of people that live in a big city. Half of my life, I thought about people that live in a big city. They are stressful, just too individualistic. They just want to lead their own lives. They just think about work. They're kind of rude while you read newspaper. You see all those dramas are crimes, lack of infrastructure, flood in the city. But when you venture out and get out of your comfort zone to meet people for real, they're nice. End up to be nice, and then you change the perception what it means to be a Paulista that live in a big city. They're at the end of the day, they're people with stories, with heart, with soul, that they want to share their time with you.
Oh, that's such a wonderful answer. I'm loving this conversation so much. And let's talk about the way in which we met, which was at the name of the group is called Talk Now. Can you explain to me the origin, your involvement, and what it provides for you first and then for other people as well? But I'd love to hear about your involvement and then what it's done for you individually. And then we can talk about how it can also really help other people who are looking to feel less alone in the city.
Yeah, I got involved with this group after pandemic. Everybody was feeling isolated and wanted to build bridges with other people, and also was in a phase that all I did was to go out, go to the coffee shop and decompress and read my book by myself. And then I felt that I would just have that experience of sense of community if I lived in the countryside of Brazil. And simultaneously, I was having class with a tutor of English, and then he said, "You need to not only have lessons, you need to incorporate in your real life English. Search for language exchange group in your city. Huge city, you might get to know a lot of people." And then I got to know a lot of people. Then at the first phase, people, probably 80% of Brazilians come to practice languages. But at the end of the day, they see that it's more than that. You improve your ability of dealing with people. You improve your communication in general. You share a story and listen to so many different stories from people that come to the city curious about São Paulo, and and again you start to appreciate even more the city, because
Yeah.
people that fell in love, we got to in contact with the people that fell in love and decided to live in the city. And some people even say, like, I met in the last 3 weeks or last month, a girl from Rio, that it's a wonderful city with beautiful beaches and landscape. It is a dream for anyone to visit there and maybe live there. And she said that São Paulo is the best city she ever visited, and now she decided to live here. And a lot of expats also have the sensation they decided to live here for many other reasons, because they like the service here, the diversity of our gastronomy, the several options, affordable or even free options, community centers, clubs, concerts, theater plays, movies. Everything happened in the country, either in Rio or Sao Paulo.
Yeah, that's interesting and awesome about the group and what it provides to people. And I think another aspect that makes the group so special is I felt when I was there that it was a mix of people who did not grow up in Brazil. In addition, there's a very strong population of people that I met that actually grew up either, if not in the Sao Paulo region, or in maybe a different state. So it's not just people who didn't grow up. It's not just people who are outside the country that are there. It's also people who didn't grow up in the city, in addition to native Paulistas and Paulistanos as well. So I felt that there was this beautiful mix of people just wanting to get to know one another, and really enjoyed that aspect of
Yeah.
your group, that in addition to the languages, the group itself is diverse in terms
Mhm.
of the regions that people are coming from. It's not just one area, or let's say one community on this side and one community speaking this language on the other. I think it's a very opening environment to anyone who walks in that just wants to make friends in general.
That's true. It also made
Mm.
good friends, and you build some connections that is like forever. When I visited like Italy, I hung up with a guy that I had a connecting flight for one day in Rome, and I hung up with a guy that I met in the club. And also, when I visited South Africa, also had dinner, got together with my friend from that is also Japanese American and Japanese Chinese American. She was living there as a remote worker for 1 month, and we had that coincidence of being there in the same city. And one of my friend, also Paloma, that became one of my best friend. She's American, Mexican, and she joined my trip to Japan, and it is special. I One of my close friends
Yeah.
are people that I made, friends that I made, and in this group.
Do you think there's something different about the one in Sao Paulo, the dynamic of the group that is might be different than some of the other ones that you've been to?
Maybe it is just one thing that is not different from other groups, but it's different of places that you go by yourself. You go to a place by yourself or to a bar with your group of friends. You might not have interaction outside of your social circle,
Right.
but going to the speaking club like Talk, you give yourself the opportunity to interact with everyone. Everyone is open to interact with everyone. Everybody's anxious and urge you to and open to talk to everyone.
For someone who's new to the city or who lives there and is just looking to expand their friend base, how does one find out about the group? How can one get involved? What kind of outreach do you do so that people are aware of the community?
We have our Instagram at Talk Speaking Club. We advertise on Couchsurfing app and Meetup app. Yeah, but it's basically these three main pages and apps. But that's how people get to know, and sometimes by referring
Yeah,
to other
right, right.
people. Reference.
Actually, yeah, if people that I know are going to the city, I'll often tell them, oh, you should try this meetup group. In fact, for me, when I went, I thought it was so cool. I was trying to describe this concept to some of my friends here, and we do have meetups, but I think that language meetup isn't as well known here to as many people, that you can go and you can speak all different kinds of languages. And so I think that you definitely have gotten your name out, because a lot of people were familiar with the group. Can you describe what I know you do different themes throughout the year, like not every event looks the same way, but how often are you meeting? What is the structure looking like of the group if someone sort of wants to have a recurring social network?
Yeah, on Fridays we are going to a karaoke place at Let's Bar
Mm.
at Villa Madalena. It's one of the bohemian neighborhood of the city. On Saturdays we go to our Irish pub where we can enjoy
Okay.
rock music from 10 p.m. But before that, we get to know each other from 7 p.m. And sometimes we scheduled events like going to restaurant, ethnic restaurant. We went to Russian restaurant,
Cool.
Peruvian, Indian, and we also had feijoada during feijoada on a carnival season.
Oh,
And
nice.
then after feijoada, we also got together to join to a blocking party.
Fun. Yeah. Oh, and that certainly, actually, that's my next question. How much of the population that comes to these events would you say are tourists versus expats versus people who have grown up there and lived there? I know it's probably tough to say
Maybe we have like
percentage.
60%, 80%. They're Brazilians from all the regions, from all other cities. 20-40% of foreigners that live in the city, or they're traveling, getting to know, or just visitor passing by, or they're going to continue their in itinerary in another city or the countries. Yeah, but a lot of people. I know some expats that live here in Brazil for 7-10 years. They speak Portuguese fluently. Sometimes they don't even have an accent. I have a Japanese accent.
Wow.
I have Japanese accent when I speak Portuguese, even though I'm Brazilian, but with Japanese background. And some people, they're expat. They have neutral accent. I feel like it's
Yeah.
funny. It's funny. I don't
Yeah.
have
No, that's
I don't
interesting.
speak like native, but you speak like native. You're Russian.
Well,
I met a Russian girl that she speaks like native with no accent,
that's
with all these
impressive. Yeah,
slangs.
some people can pick the language up very quickly, especially if they've grown up having to learn more than one language.
Yeah.
I'm very determined to learn Portuguese, but for me it's a bit of a slower process, and I'm trying to be a bit gentler with myself in terms of fluency, but I have to remind myself that each day if I try to learn a few new words, and it'll just continue to get easier and easier. And I'm thinking about something that you said about this concept of different Brazilians from different regions really getting to know one another. And I think that's a really interesting and special element of the city, is that there's such a large community of people from regions outside of Sao Paulo. And I think that it really helps you understand how large and diverse the country is in and of itself, and that people that are coming from different regions of the country are learning so many different things about someone who might have grown up in, let's say, the north or the south, or the city versus more of a town in a less populated area. And I think everyone just seems so excited about learning one another's background and what their story is. And I really appreciate you sharing your story with us today. Thank you again
Thank
for
you. Thank you for
joining
inviting me.
me in kind of conversation. Yeah, I'm excited to see how your group grows and the friendships. Have there been any marriages out of your group? Has
Yeah,
anyone
we have like at least four couples. They're
for oh
they
yeah,
got to know each other, and
so
one of the Lebanese girls said that she would invite me to her wedding. Yeah,
wow. No,
there's
I
one
think
couple
you
that
get
got
to
to.
be honorary member there. That's
Yeah,
incredible. Oh, that's so wonderful. I was curious, and that it's just the beginning, right? So
yeah.
who knows? Who knows? Well, thank you so much for joining me, and have a good evening.
Have a good
Boa noite.
evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Why Sao Paulo, exploring Brazil's magic through its people and places. I hope you enjoyed the stories about this incredible city. learning unique insights from the discussion. If you found this episode interesting or inspiring, please share it with friends or family who might also be curious about Sao Paulo and the depth of incredible aspects of life in Brazil. Don't forget to rate and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. It really helps others discover the show. You can also find the transcript in Portuguese in the show notes. I'm so excited to continue this journey with you as we uncover more of what makes Sao Paulo and the country of Brazil so magical. Until next time, take care and keep exploring.